Kenyatta Leal come up to speak to the class.
Now, who said nothing good can come out of San Quentin? Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you today with 51 of my peers as a testament to the power of education and positive influence of the Prison University Project here at San Quentin. Perhaps the best kept secret in the California prison system, the overwhelming success of the Prison University Project is overshadowed by the notion that people in prison do not have the capacity to change, and unlike other human beings, are unworthy of higher education. More often than not, the media perpetuates these ideas by sensationalizing the darker side of humanity within these walls. But ladies and gentlemen, there's indeed a bright side to this story. And given the current crisis that our state finds itself in, the accomplishments we are celebrating today convey an important message to both the public and our elected officials in Sacramento. A message that says, the more opportunities we in prison have to learn, to value education, and see possibilities for ourselves, the greater the chance we will break the cycle of incarceration, not just for ourselves, but for future generations to come. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just one of many people who make this side of the story shine so bright. And my role in all this began the day I arrived at San Quentin. It was day 3 of a bus ride from Centinela State Prison, and 72 hours of eating peanut butter sandwiches and shackles and leg irons had taken its toll on me. At that point, all I wanted was a toothbrush and a bunk to fall down on. But having experienced a prison-to-prison transfer in the past, I knew the intake process of the new prison would be an all-day affair. Understanding this, I began thinking about what being transferred to San Quentin meant to my life. I didn't come to San Quentin by choice, so I was frustrated about being moved such a great distance from my family. As I sat there contemplating how to deal with my frustration, an older brother came to the new arrival holding cell and began talking to us about the Prison University Project. He introduced himself as G, and my initial reaction to him was one of disbelief, because at that particular moment, college was the furthest thing from my mind. However, the more this brother spoke, the more intrigued I became. I could tell G was speaking from the heart as he told us about his college experience, and there was no mistaking the pride in his voice when he mentioned his upcoming graduation. Sitting there listening to G's story triggered some very, very powerful emotions in me. At first, I felt shame and regret because I dropped out of high school and since then had made all kinds of excuses about why I couldn't, wouldn't, and shouldn't go back to school. In my heart of hearts, I felt like a failure because I did not finish what I had started. At the same time, though, the enthusiasm in G's voice fired me up. It made me think, if he can do it, then so can I. Deep down, I knew I had what it took to earn a degree. All I had to do was stop making excuses and start applying myself. So right there, in my red reception jumpsuit, still musty from the 3-day bus ride, I made up my mind to go back to school and do everything in my power to earn my degree. From that point forward, San Quentin became my university. About 10 minutes later, G finished his talk with us. But before he walked away, he said something I'll never forget. One of the guys in the holding cell asked him a question concerning prison politics. And undaunted by the implications of the question, G said, "You can get caught up in the drama if you want to, but San Quentin is a place where you can change your life. It's up to you, brother." Now, I'm not sure if any of the other new arrivals caught it, but those words resonated with me. Because despite all of the preconceived notions about the incorrigible nature of men in prison, I've always believed I possess the power to change my life. That particular day, G reaffirmed my belief in change in a very, very influential way. Later that evening, I entered San Quentin's North Block with a renewed sense of purpose and ready to take on all of the challenges that lay ahead. The way I saw it, the college program represented much more than just furthering my education. It was a chance for me to overcome years of excuses and squandered opportunities. More importantly, the college program provided me with a unique opportunity to help break some of the stereotypes about people in prison, as well as become the first in my family to earn a college degree. With all of these motivational factors serving as wind in my sails, I set out on my journey towards graduation. My first 24 hours on San Quentin's main line were remarkable because I quickly realized I was not alone on my journey. Everywhere I turned, I saw men walking with armloads of books and gathered on the tiers, on the yard, and in their cells studying. In all my years of incarceration, I had never seen such a sight. In my experience at other prisons, it was common for men to gather on the yard and pass the time doing push-ups or playing cards. Now at San Quentin, I found myself on the yard, engaged in conversations about the social ecological framework, deductive reasoning, and Kant's categorical imperative. It truly was amazing. During one of those conversations, I stood in a group of 5 men, 2 African Americans, 1 white, 1 Hispanic, and 1 Native American. And it dawned on me exactly how much of an impact education had on the men at San Quentin. Normally, prison culture forces men to divide themselves along strict racial lines and forbids socializing with other races. Failure to abide by these cultural norms often results in violent repercussions from respective races. However, it occurred to me that at San Quentin, the power of education had actually changed the culture within the prison. I found this to be extraordinary because the freedom that came with the change in prison culture allowed the men at San Quentin to see that change was possible in other areas of their life as well. This is unheard of anywhere else in the California prison system. And the more that I thought about this unusual yet positive dynamic, the more I wanted to be part of it. Fortunately, I didn't have to wait long. And before I knew it, I was enrolled in my first class, English 99A. Being back in the classroom for the first time in 20 years was one of the most exciting moments of my life. Just sitting at the desk and listening to the teachers instruct. Excuse me. Whew. Just sitting at that desk and listening to those teachers instruct sparked my love for learning and made me feel reconnected to the idea that despite my circumstances, I can still accomplish something meaningful in my life. A short time later, I began to attend study hall, and it was there that I met people who were well on their way to where I wanted to be. I was impressed by the high level of intellect among the students I interacted with. What I found even more compelling was their no-nonsense approach and commitment to change. In my past, I'd struggled with starting things and not finishing them. And since I'd been in prison, most of the people I encountered didn't seem to care one way or the other about changing or accomplishing anything in their lives. Now, I was surrounded by men who set goals and day by day worked hard to achieve them. These men didn't just talk the talk,